Hello, independent seventh graders. It's Mrs. Douglas, and I'm here again with Mrs. Hinckley, and we are super excited to share with you today about complementary and supplementary angles. And I see that the directions say that angles A and B are complementary. And I know that you're probably thinking that complementary means that they give compliments like, Miss Hinckley, I love your sweater. That's not what we talk about when we talk about complementary angles in math. Instead, complementary angles are angles whose sum equals 90 degrees. That means they add up to 90 degrees. I have a chart over here that says, oh, the measure of angle A is 28. We're supposed to find its complement, or what plus 28 equals 90 degrees. We can do that by solving an equation. Angle A plus 28 equals 90. I then am going to solve by subtracting by 28 on both sides of that equation. And when I do that, I find out that the supplementary angle is 62 degrees. Hinkle, you better watch me carefully because you know I make mistakes when I add and subtract all the time. I make a silly math mistake all the time. Next, I want to know what's the complement for 73 degrees. Some angle plus 73 degrees equals 90 degrees. Again, I am simply going to subtract 73 from both sides. The example in our math book just has us taking 90 minus 73, which I absolutely could also do that on my calculator. But this is more fun, of course. And I end up with 17 degrees. The next one says 36 degrees. What is the complement of 36 degrees? They have us filling in this chart 90 minus 36 degrees equals, we don't know, some number. So again, A plus, I guess that is measure A. That's okay. A plus 36 equals 90 degrees. I'm going to subtract 36 from both sides. And when I do that, I end up with 54 degrees. And then my last one, 15 degrees, it's saying, if I take 90 degrees minus 15 degrees, I can find its complement. So I'm going to still write an equation because I love to solve equations. I have 15 plus, I'm going to do it the other way. So sorry. A plus 15, it really didn't matter how I wrote it, equals 90. I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. When I do that, I end up with A equals 75 degrees. So that's when I'm given just the set of complementary angles, or I need to find a complementary angle. Next, I see that it says, here's a diagram or a picture of an angle. It says that the measure of angle ABC is 90 degrees. So this whole entire thing is 90. We call that a right angle. Sometimes we see this right angle box to show that it's right angle. Then says to find the value of x. In other words, we don't know what this part of that angle is equal to. We know that the other part is 23 degrees. So again, I can set up an equation. X plus this 23 degree angle equals 90 degrees. Ms. Hinckley, did you know that 23 degree angle simply means how wide it's open? Like a door, like when I open a door. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 23 from both sides. Oops. That was a silly math mistake. I said 23, but I wrote 33. When I do that, then I end up with 67 degrees. So the measure of this angle is 67 degrees. That's how wide open it is. You have some complementary angles to practice. We also have supplementary angles. So the measures of A and B are supplementary. Supplementary typically means like something that you give to somebody in addition to what they already have to meet their needs. Like a supplementary vitamin, like your mom and dad might give you a daily vitamin to make sure you're getting all the healthy stuff that you need when you're eating. However, that's not what this supplementary means. Supplementary means that the sum of the angles is 180 degrees, which, by the way, is a straight line. So if the measure of angle A is 82 degrees, and we want to know what is its supplement, you can take 180 minus 82 degrees and see what that equals. You could use your calculator for that. but we love to solve equations. So I think that we will do some angle plus 82 equals 180 degrees. And I then subtract 82 from both sides. When I do that, I end up with 98 degrees. Next one, 26 degrees. What is the supplement of 26 degrees? In other words, what angle measurement plus 26 equals 180 degrees? I'm going to subtract, that's a 6, by 26 on both sides. I keep my equations balanced, by the way, and I end up with 154 degrees. Ooh, that is an obtuse angle. It means it's really wide. 36, some angle. Did I say 36? I meant 136. Some angle plus 136 degrees equals 180 degrees. I'm going to subtract by 136 on both sides. And when I do that, I find out that I get 44 degrees. That's an acute angle. And then finally, 105 degrees. So 180 minus 105 degrees would give me the supplement. Or I could take some angle plus 105 degrees equals 180 degrees. I'm going to subtract 105 from both sides, and I would end up with a 75-degree angle. So that's if you're just given numbers. Sometimes, though, we're given a picture, like this diagram that we see right here. And they give us what's called a given, means that this is true. So given, or it's true, that PR is a straight line. If it's a straight line, that means it equals 180 degrees. Here is PR. It is a straight line, 180 degrees. I'm supposed to find the value of X. So how big is this angle right here? Again, I'm going to set up an equation.
Mrs. Douglas?
Yes?
Right now, looking at that, I can tell you it's going to be smaller than 90 degrees.
How can you tell?
Because 90 degrees would be a square corner, and it opens up and is smaller than that. So your answer should be smaller than 90. Let's see if I'm right.
You are so smart. I'm glad you pointed that out to us. So I have some angle measurement X plus the 125 degrees equals 180 degrees. I'm remembering Mrs. Hinckley's prediction that she thinks this is going to be smaller than 90 degrees. I subtract 125 from both sides, and when I do that, I end up with 55 degrees. Ms. Hinckley, you were correct. 55 is smaller than 90. I love doing math with Mrs. Hinckley. All right, 7th graders, you've got some supplementary and complementary angles to practice. Have a good day. We'll see you later.